Welcome to Meta Egg, and today we are looking at the Acolyte and hoping that nobody throws eggs at us. I'm with Star Wars Santa, our expert in the wings on Star Wars, and the only guy I feel safe talking to about Star Wars anymore.
Thank you. It's a jungle out there. It's a little crazy.
It's bad. I mean, I don't want to focus on it, of course, but I mean, it's kind of unavoidable to talk about. There's like a campaign to to humiliate the Acolyte in the town square, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I mean, is it contrived? Is that a conspiracy theory that
I think there's a combination. Like we definitely have generations of Star Wars fans that change. Like the original trilogy, folks, when the prequel trilogy came out, it's very real that there was some backlash from original trilogy folks toward the prequel trilogy. And George had to deal with it. There was a lot of negativity. A lot of the things that have been said about the sequel trilogy were said back then, on and that. So then we get another generation gap, and you end up with the sequel trilogy and another generational divide. Throw on top of that kind of the culture war stuff we've had with this DEI, right? DEI is the buzzword, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is a big thing in marketing, in media, in about anything you can find.
right?
And
And it's been called different things, like maybe affirmative action, but it's been around for a long time.
it really has. So there's a big pushback now against anything with any perceived DEI push. Um, so
As the
you add that
messaging,
extra,
I guess. To
yeah. You just add that extra layer of controversy to something that's already kind of engulfed in controversy, and you've got a Kindle, you know, a dry Kindle ready to catch fire. Then you
Ooh.
get a showrunner who comes out, and you get actors who come out, and they kind of fuel the flames, and we've now got this raging forest fire that's out of control, and it's just consumed the internet. And it's difficult to have any kind of constructive discussion in the midst of this inferno. What are you supposed to do? As you said, right? It's not really safe out there.
And put the kids to bed. The Star Wars fandom is on loose. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
it's
I don't know if it's like a negative feedback loop, or if it's just trending to hate the Acolyte, or if there is some campaign to hate it. But it
there's a
feels
combination. I think there's a core fandom who are divided on what they like and what they don't like. Right? So there's going to be things that people don't like, and they're earnest about the things that they don't like. They're really critical of things. They're looking at things for different lenses of adult eyeballs versus kid eyeballs. They've grown older. They're analytic thinking. The things that they enjoy have matured as they have matured, and so a lot of the new content, there's a disconnect, and they haven't yet put their kind of uh, hands around
I
it,
mean,
right? They
that's
really haven't
true, but
figured
there's
out.
also like an inconsistency of content,
Well,
especially when
sure, but I think the inconsistency of content is another layer. So you look at Mandalorian, you look at Book of Boba Fett, you look at Andor, you look at Acolyte, or Ahsoka, and you can see the inconsistency you're talking about, right? In the quality of production, post production, writing, storytelling, all of it's very inconsistent. And so those folks with the adult brains, right, with the analytic thinking, uh, catch that. Kids don't pick it up as much, and that's sort of what I'm leaning into. In addition,
there's definitely like I could feel like a kid while watching this quite a few times, and I've heard other people say it too, that it felt like old Star Wars. So despite whatever messaging is going on, but I don't think that there's like been a serious, I feel like the writing on the wall is that there's going to be at least 1 foot forward and the messaging in a way that's going to upset a lot of people. I don't know if they're going to go too far or not.
Yeah.
So far, I don't think that they've even scratched the surface of anything like that.
Well, in this show, in the two episodes we've had,
Right.
there's been exactly one line in there that could be picked up. Other than that, any kind of messaging would just be in the cast themselves, right? So if you are aware of who the individuals are in the cast, in what they stand for and what they're about, then maybe
What they
you've got
said.
something there, right?
Okay, well, let's talk about the elephant in the room is what's gonna be in the 3rd episode or
Oh
the
boy,
3rd is it what's good? Do you know? Like, how much do you know?
I
You
know,
little
I know more than people want to know. Um,
or do you know enough to make you upset?
um, okay, so there is a thing about people being upset, right?
Okay,
Um,
so I guess and maybe just read your facial expressions. You can go like this if I'm close.
well, so there's a couple of things. I mean, just at a high level, just so folks have an idea what's coming. And Ben knows. Ben and I have been talking, and I suspect Saber Smith may know as well. But the guys in the chat, Dale Skywalker's Academy, I see him
Hey,
in
guys.
chat, right? But we're going to it's a the episode's a flashback episode, and this has been shared. Not this isn't like leaks, rumors. This is from people who have the screeners who were able to share just basic stuff. This next episode is a flashback episode. You can find YouTube
Okay.
videos where people are openly talking about who had the screeners, right? So there's that aspect. And we've seen in the trailer what this flashback is about. Right? It's back at the coven. You see the mother there. You see a younger
It's an
Corbin,
all-female coven.
all female coven, and we talked about that last week, where they've got
Right,
the bows and arrows kind of thing, the bows, and you see all the women there, the
right,
witch coven.
right.
So we've got that is coming, and you can see the young Torben, the guy who took the poison and killed himself.
Oh,
You
he's
see
there as
him.
well.
He's
In
knelt down, but before them,
right.
and his eyes go black. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's the guy whose eyes go black. I
his
remember.
eyes go right. And then
Okay.
there's Soul Master Soul is there. The Wookiee Jedi is there,
Wookiee
and
Jedi is there.
Nandara, right?
Okay,
Those four.
okay, okay, hold on, let me collect my thoughts. But that is that part of the flashback then?
Yeah,
Or is that okay, so that this is so the way that it's set up is kind of like it's sort of kind of knives out-ish. It's like we know that there's been a crime. We know that somebody's killing. We even know who's killing all of these individuals that they're basically holding responsible for a crime. We know some of the individuals possibly feel guilty for this crime, including okay, but now we're going to get the flashback to see what the crime was.
yes, yeah,
So is it possible, because I have heard individuals talk about maybe the archetype of this show is Roshadan, which is there's a crime and then it shows different points of view of the same crime. Could we get, I mean, is most of this show going to be flashback? Are we going to get like modern time flashback, we got 8 episodes to play with
it
that would
seems
give
to
us
be
like
like they're
4
doing a lot.
flashbacks.
This next episode is going to take care of a huge part of
All of
the
it.
flashback. There may be little bits of flashback, a different thing. There's a new trailer that came out today that makes me think there's another flashback coming up in a
Right.
different era, different time,
Okay.
backstory kind of flashback.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to get the mystery is going to be revealed to us.
Okay.
The,
So it's not
the
gonna be that much
controversy,
thinking. I
yeah,
really think that maybe overanalyzation of the plot might not be a good idea. I based that. I mean, it's anti-intuitive because at first, with Headland's relationship to Russian dolls, which is twist inside of twist inside of twist inside of twist, I kind of suspect that she might have the same type of way of handling this whole series, but or
well, there's
you're
a big one.
thinking, you're kind reassuring me that it's basically everything we need to know is going to be in the jack of the box of the next episode.
Well, the backstory about what the crime was is in there.
Right. Okay.
In the thing that's going to kind of light the internet on fire, from what I
Is the
understand, and this
mothers.
again, just things I've seen in social media, they say where uh, Kathleen Kennedy says the force is female. You remember
Right.
that?
Yeah.
That's been around for a while.
But that's what covens think. Okay, if you're familiar, because I study a bunch of different religions and a bunch of different mythologies, that's what we do here at Medea. Anyways, Wiccans have this idea that everything is like of a female goddess like nature or a suppressed goddess. So it's really not that weird. Now, what might be upsetting is how they spin the fact that it's two mothers having twins. Because we did like there's an alternate. Marvel did this earlier. Marvel had America Chavez has two mothers in this like alternate multiverse that has all females. Basically the same thing. But what this does to Star Wars is it kind of makes a twist on an Immaculate Conception vibe that we have left over from Anakin.
Well, yeah,
So is
and you
that
go
how
back
it's
to
going to be? Like maybe they're not even twins from the same woman.
well, maybe they are, maybe they're not. We don't know, right? And
We don't know.
that's your point. And it's to me, it reminds me of an Amazonian tradition as well. And I keep saying that over and over. Like the old Amazonian Wonder Woman comes as a variation of it, but the Amazonian tradition goes way back before Wonder Woman ever existed.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in
Hmm.
those women, how did they have children? Where did the children come from? And
Where
all
did the
that, right?
children come from?
Um, in an all women society, is it a deal where there are certain species of animals that can reproduce without a male, or that can reproduce without a female, right? That they
Wait, you mean like Jurassic Island?
well, sort of that you'll see where like yeah, like where an entire female
Right.
whatever all of a sudden a
I mean,
male
it's been handled before. There's been this whole idea of stealing babies or having repressed men who have the pay,
right.
but we're talking about like what we'll see the what's his name? The dang it, the dude, the I
Oh
cannot
yeah, yeah.
talk right now.
Come
Jesus,
here,
help me, Santa. Jesus.
come here.
Come here. Okay, so I mean, he made the poison that's from her hometown, and he's not what he says he is. So does that mean he's from the same place as them?
We don't
Like,
know.
are they
We don't
stealing
know.
children? Is that
No, we'll find out. We'll find
you
out.
know? You
We'll
know,
get
don't
to-
lie.
I don't know. I don't know. There's one thing I do know, and it's when he was doing interviews about who his character is, and they were going about the press tour, trying to introduce the Acolyte to the world. And they're saying, "Who do you play? What is your character about? What's their motivation? What are they doing?" He gave his as I'm neither Sith nor Jedi. I'm just a guy trying to make his way through the galaxy without getting stepped on by these really powerful people who are around me. I'm trying not to get killed. And so he's a bit slippery. He's very resourceful, right? So he makes himself uh, an asset to whomever is around. And you see a little glimpse of it in this second episode where, yeah, he makes the poison for May, But then later the Jedi show up and he's like, "Oh, I'll help you out. Here's the information you want." And they're like,
Right,
"Thanks so much."
he twist. But I
Yeah.
mean, ah,
So I think he's just like a simple
well,
guy
see,
making his
there's
way
the
through the
dream.
galaxy.
When she wrecks in the ship here, I'm trying to find it. When she wrecks in the ship, she has, like, a dream at first, like a
Mhm.
forced dream, very
Yeah.
similar, but her sister's eyes go black.
Yes. Creep me out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this whole idea of, like, the black-eyed children. It's like this new age thingy, like, I don't know if that's what they're getting at. That's just wild, but I feel like this pinpoints her as how I feel like Homeboy and the girls go back further than we're giving them credit. I don't know if
Maybe.
he's
I mean, he knew that poison. We don't know his backstory. We're gonna learn
but
more
he's
of the
part of the
backstory.
coven. Is he a member of the coven, or is he? I
I
mean,
don't
he's
think so.
definitely.
I
We're
don't
gonna
think
see him get him. He's gonna go eye black though, right?
no, that's not Khmer.
Who is the guy who's gonna go eye black?
The Jedi who poisoned himself.
Oh, so that's definitely flashback,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because we're talking about floating in the air guy,
yeah,
and
floating in
that
the air guy.
what
Yeah,
is he
that's him.
from? He's from, I think he's from what is that show that everybody likes? With the dragons.
I'm not
The
sure.
um, the House of Dragons
Torben,
and Torben. Yes, Torben.
Torben. Yeah, it's Torben that goes eye black.
Torben goes eye black. He's the guy who is floating in the air, and he's the
Yeah,
guy who was somehow he committed a crime as well.
the 4 of them.
But he
And her
definitely feels
yeah,
guilty about that crime.
yeah,
What
that there you
actor
go.
is that? Isn't he from House of Dragons or the one that the Game of Thrones guy? Isn't he that actor from Game of
Yeah,
Thrones?
Real Ben and Sabersmith are saying, yeah, he's from that franchise.
Yes, yes, yes. House of the Dragons or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so we don't know
and so is he
Kira's
paying penance
background.
while he's floating in the air? Is that what's going on?
Yeah,
Is he
well, he's sort of dealing with it, right? But we don't know Khmer's background. Next episode is gonna give us background for the crime that those 4 Jedi committed. Crime, I'm gonna put in quotes because 'cause I'm not sure it's actually a crime or if it's the way that May perceives it as a crime. But the 4 of them definitely have some sort of guilt about it that they're working through in their own ways. I heard this put really, really well that Indara has more of a righteous attitude, like I did what I had to do. And you see that kind of in the way that she deals before she gets dead.
yeah, she's
In the
just
first
chilling in a
episode.
bar. The
Yeah,
Wookiee kind of secluded themselves.
he secluded himself. This guy goes into penance, and the last guy,
Right.
Soul, he's trying to teach the next generation. He's trying to right the wrong through the next generation, making sure that he raises them up correctly, learns from his mistakes, kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, so
Have you ever seen that movie called The Watchmen, the comic book
yeah,
movie?
yes,
Could one of the
yes.
Jedi be the killer?
Well, okay, so so I was listening to a
Well, it's not
podcast.
the Wookiee.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day where they think that the guy in the helmet
Yeah.
could very well be someone who has infiltrated the Jedi ranks, is a Jedi. Because Leslie Headland did an interview, and I quoted the interview. I think I gave it to you, the quote,
Yeah.
when I sent it the other day. Um, what is it? Just one second, I'll find it. Um, oh, phooey. There's a quote that goes right
Don't say
along with
"Gooey."
it.
Kids are watching this, man.
um, where she says she's been intrigued with this idea, but then so I had to look up the quote. and I had to find, okay, what did she say? And then I found this quote about the Acolyte. So this is a quote about the show in
Okay.
the promotional materials that came out months before the show released. Here's the quote. Set 100 years before the Skywalker saga. This is teased as revealing the story of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi and the Republic. Infiltrated. How did the Sith infiltrate? What's it mean to infiltrate?
That means that one of the Jedi it gets within the Jedi ranks, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think John Justice was onto something there. And so this
Yeah, I
dude in the
feel
helmet may be a Jedi, or the apprentice may be a Jedi, which
I'm
makes me
telling
think,
you, it's Watchmen, dude. It's Watchmen. That makes sense. It's Watchmen. It's why because who watches the Watchmen? One of the Watchmen, and the Watchmen are just superheroes like the Jedi, who are kind of like peacekeepers, and one of them doesn't like what like the whole situation, so he starts killing
right,
off the other ones.
right, right. So who would it be? And I had a theory who it was, and I was convinced of it. And you kind of put me on the path, but then there's a picture showing that it's definitely not. So now
Well,
I
I
don't know
think there
who it
might
is.
I kind of feel like you sent me another Easter egg. Like, for to be fair, you read a lot more about other Easter eggs and stuff than I do. So I don't want to be like the Easter egg master. I'm more like a specialist. Um but you sent me this about the one she okay, so all right, let's go back and talk about some other things real quick.
The Skywalker's Academy, Dale touched on it, right? Someone speculated Yord is the guy in the mask, but there's a picture of Yord with
I've
his
been saying that for a
lightsaber
while. Yeah.
right with the dude in the mask
He's
and the
got the
lightsaber.
lightsaber stripe, but that could be a dream. Like, there's 4 streams present. It could be just confusion.
Yeah, it could be, and it could be Yord. We don't know, but I was
My first
convinced it
guess
was.
was your just because there's things out of character. Like, I don't under and maybe I'm just misreading what's going on, but the one time where he's standing by, is he just like seeing how much when he's standing by and watching the Squid Games guy fight with OSHA, or is it Mia?
May,
Fight with
May,
Mia.
May.
May, you're right. Sorry. He's fighting with May, and George just kicking back with the binoculars. And it's a really like and like Rob from Making Star Wars has commented how it doesn't make any sense why he's standing with the binoculars when he's right there. I don't know if he's like reading lips
Well, it's
or
more than
what.
that. Like he pulls the dagger from her, and the
He
guy in the
disarms
mask
her.
said, "You got to kill him without a weapon." I'm like, he disarmed her to say no cheating, right?
Oh, I
If you're
get
gonna
why
kill
you
her, you got
say
to
that.
kill her without a weapon, right?
Yeah, he's testing her. He's making sure that like the
Yeah,
whole way, but he's doing that too with the other girl because like he followed OSHA into the room. Like
right.
he's kind of like shadowing both of them.
Well, no, and more than
Man, it
that,
might
he
be him, dude. I
like
don't know if I'm convinced
you
that it's
listen to
not
him.
him.
And once you kind of put this earworm in my head, I went back and rewatched it, completely watching him, listening to every line he says, watching his mannerisms. And he does when he talks to OSHA on her ship, and then later comes talks to her, he's kind of putting seeds of division into her. Like the Jedi did this that was against you. The Jedi did this that you wouldn't like. They did this to you. Didn't you like that? They're responsible for, like, he says these things that would make her distrust the Jedi. I'm like, why would he bring that up? He's trying to prove her guilt, or he's trying to plant seeds of derision. I thought, he looks pretty guilty to me. And then
He
as you
does look
watch
guilty.
through, he seems to disagree with the Jedi when they say, uh, um, do this or do that. Like every time they say to do something, he disagrees with what they say to do every time. And
Right.
I'm like, the dude looks guilty. But then
I
there's
just
a
don't
picture
I
of
mean,
him
certain things I
fighting.
feel like are foreshadowing and stuff. So, like, with him with his shirt off, I couldn't really get what they were saying with that scene.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because that's just, like, weird and out of character unless there's going to be some sort of sexual tension between them later. But then that's out of character. First off, I gotta say, like, his Padawan, what do you think now? I know you made a mention that she looked like a dang Ferengi earlier, but now that you've seen her again, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know
Is it
about
still
her.
Ferengi?
No, no, less so, rewatching it. It was definitely the first time, but then after I settled in and seen her now
Bro,
a
that
few
looks a
times.
lot like they do on animation. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
because those are those arrogant,
Slavers, yeah.
real cat vampire slave people.
Yes, yes, yeah, and
They
Sabersmith, the Sith Master looks female, but I can't tell. So,
Yeah, I
this is
know, I put
another
that up earlier because I wanna know what you think about that, like,
that's a theory that was my first theory. The
so
first
what
theory
would
I
that
had
mean? That it
is
might
that
be
it's one of
her?
the
Like,
mothers.
she can't fit in that helmet, not with those ears, bro.
No, no, not this lady. Come on.
Well,
One of the
maybe,
one of the
like, put a helmet on her and,
no,
like,
no,
she
one of the
just
ladies, one of the mothers from the tribe, from the coven, right? I think
you think okay.
it
You
very well could be
oh,
one of the mothers. G There's questions about, well, how did May get to know this guy? Or
right.
the helmeted figure? How did they get recruited? How did May get in the same
And how does
circle?
other dude know him too? Like, are they
Right,
both
right. How does all this work? Um, it's possible that the person in the mask, the big switch is it's not a dude, that it's, a mother,
I don't see him
and that
power
there's
so wait, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Sabersmith says Jorda's probably going to die. I don't see him powerful enough to be the Sith master, but I would say that that's the misdirection because they
yeah,
even make fun of Yord. Yord's got a stick
right,
up
it's
his ass.
the Clark Kent to Superman.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely Clark Kentish.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But, so I thought it was Yord for
Wow.
the longest time. Now I'm not so sure. Um, is it a mother? I don't know. I still think the most likely scenario is it's nobody that we've met. It's somebody different.
Somebody said it's the first person, like it's Scooby Doo or whatever. It's like the first people that they talk to. It's
Right.
always see. I don't know, man. If it doesn't have some sort of twist and punch to it, I'll be disappointed. If it's the apothecary chimera guy, like whatever.
Come here.
Sorry, Kamir, yeah. I wonder, I mean, I looked up his names. We looked up a lot of the word puns that are used in here. Like I was trying to say earlier, you sent me, okay, so here she gets arrested. And again, it's him, it's Yord who brings her into this.
Right.
Yord is the one who brings her into the whole mess. We
Yep.
talk about also the aesthetics, like the old school way that the droids look like. Like, I got to be honest with you. I was kind of disappointed at the Mandalorian droids because they looked not like the old school, like droids, you know? But this right here looks like it's almost it's a mixture between C3PO and Gort from
Yeah.
the day the Earth stood still. But
I
anyway,
thought yeah. Go ahead.
what do you think
No, I
about
thought
the
the same thing on that.
aesthetics? I mean, is it
Uh,
just like they're trying to make it say that there's fashions involved? Like over the years, the styles change? Or,
sure.
I mean, is that why the ships look a little different? Or like the technology they're using looks a little bit more 50s than 70s, you know? Or do you think it's just cheap?
Um, no, I think they're doing a pretty good job of trying to predate the prequels. Go back to a time when the Jedi there was another good commentary I heard, today that says the, um, the time period here. those Jedi who are at the temple seem to have a different kind of uh, clique, right? Like they just hang out with each other. And the Jedi who are out in the field are in a whole different world. And for the people out in the field to say,
Like
well, the folks
just
back on
Jedi.
Coruscant, they don't know who we are, right? They're in their own thing. They're doing their own thing. And you see it in how they dress, and you see it in like the palace, palatial kind of place they are. Right. So they're wearing upper scale clothing. They're in a palatial kind of place. You go out in the field, you go to a Jedi temple. It's like
A dirt floor monastery.
yeah, and they're wearing the monastic robes, more like in tune with the people. So you've got these different hierarchies of Jedi, and it's interesting that Vernestra tells Soul, "Well, come back here to Coruscant. We need to decide what to do. We can't have people out there in the field deciding what to do. We've got to decide it here." Right? Yeah. And I agree with Ben. The internet's going to be interesting when that helmet comes off. It is going to be big. It's going to be
I
big.
hope it's done well. That's the only thing. I hope it's not like a letdown. I hope that it really does, like, subvert expectations and have us all going, oh, you know. I hope they don't get lazy. And I'm scared. I'm scared that there might. I mean, right now, what do you think of the writing? Is it just sort of an homage to like the prequels, rough and soap opera-ish dialogue, or do you really think that they're lazy on some of it?
Uh, I think some of it is bad. I think some of the writing is just bad. A lot of
But I
it's
mean,
good.
some of the writing on the prequels is bad. You're not even a
Oh,
fan.
look, George Lucas is infamous for writing bad dialogue, terrible dialogue, right? Absolutely, like the actors say, George, have you tried saying this is
Yeah.
right? Like you can't
Nobody
say these
talks.
things. It makes
Yeah.
no sense, right? Like you've got this is terrible. So that is a hallmark of Star Wars. The dialogue is sometimes cringy, awkward, you know, silly. But there's sometimes where it's just stale and flat and bland. And I speak specifically of Vernestra, but like it's just
Well, I
bad.
mean,
And
is that the actor's fault? I mean,
maybe, maybe it's
I
the
don't
director's
know,
wife.
because
So
we
you
all
would
know who
think
that is, not to point out any, like, weirdness or anything, but it's not like they pulled out a big person to play that
no,
character.
sometimes nepotism's a bad thing.
Mm.
Like maybe you shouldn't cast your wife as an actor
Yeah,
in the show. Saying.
Santa, shame on you.
I'm just saying, maybe you shouldn't.
Well, whatever, you know as well as I did, if you were directing The Acolyte, that Mrs. Claus would have a lightsaber. You and I both know.
Fair, fair. And Saber Smith, we really don't need another Merrick. A nothing burger would be bad, right? To your point, when this helmet comes off, it
A
needs to be
nothing
more than a
burger would
nothing burger.
be a big disappointment. If you're
Yeah,
basically looking to be odd, and that's the whole thing. We have this show leader who's known to like pull the rug out from underneath you. If she doesn't pull the rug out from underneath you, then there's a huge disappointment. And I mean, who gives a shit about all the other stuff? I don't care about the whole mother situation. I don't care if the Coven of Witch they say that the whole thing is female, and I don't care if they say Mortis is stupid. I don't care if they say that the mitochondria or the midichlorians, any of that stuff. If they debunk any of that, they ruin continuity. That really doesn't matter. But if this show flops just because it's dang boring, screw you, Disney. Like, to even have to deal with
well,
all of that other stuff and
you
you
want
don't even
you want
take
to
it serious.
yeah, do you want to hear a a pretty earth-shattering kind of rumor speculation. This is not by any ways verified. In fact, I'm trying to find ways to debunk it. But it's another theory out there that could cause a great deal of issue with continuity canon. You ready? You braced
Yep,
yourself?
I got it.
Okay.
We're batten down the hatches. Let's
What
do
if
it.
what if OSHA and May are the same person? They're not actually twins.
Oh,
And they're somehow materializing in different places based on that aspect of their
some
personality.
dyad shit.
It's like split personality disorder.
Yeah. So what do we? Hold on. Let me compute because I got something here. So it's not. It's it's not the Watchmen. It's Fight Club.
I mean, I hate the idea that she could go to sleep in one place to appear in a different place as a different person.
Right, but I mean, if it's Vord, we kind of have the same situation because directly after they're all accounted for within the floating monk. I'll call him the Torin, the weird float monk guy, and then all of a sudden it snaps all the way back to we're on the river world, and May, right? To get her name
Yeah.
right. Horrible. I'm horrible on real people names and Star Wars names. May shows up with the mask guy, and he's rambling on about dreams and whatever.
Yeah.
I think the whole dream thing was my biggest disappointment because that I think that's evidence of bad writing. Maybe it makes sense later, but it was not. It felt like it was trying to be some like Yoda saying, you know how Yoda said some shit, and we'd be in the theaters as little kids and being like, "What the hell did that mean?" And then you like later on you like figure it out, and you're like even saying it to yourself. It felt like but then it's like just a letdown when he's like, the Jedi live in a dream. Kill the dream. And it's just like, bum, 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 bum. It just didn't, I think it fell flat. It was sort of like, that was the biggest evidence of bad writing to me. And I don't know if they were just trying to like, I don't know if they had a bunch of different takes of that. I hope they had different takes where he said different things. But this is what I have up on the screen is the parasite, the little starfish parasite. Now, I think that's a reference to we'll go DC Comics Star Parasite. And if you've ever seen the Suicide Squad 2, I think they have these starfish parasite, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
alien peoples that suck on that's attached to your face, and they take you over, which is what they show in the shuttle when she's going to prison. And they call it this name right here. This is what they call that little creature that's taken over that guy.
Yeah.
Hush up. Anyways, so you sent me something, I think it was on the New Rock Stars, where they had tracked it back to this Hebrew word. But this is my theory, and this is why I bring it up, because I think there might be like a hidden message to, I thought a lot about why they had that scene in there. With that, are they going to bring that parasite up? Because they basically just introduced it into canon. Does that mean they have a story in the future for it? Or is there some sort of like little Easter egg in the fact that it's talking about being possessed by an evil spirit and to adhere or to cling? This is what it says. In Hebrew, the word daibak, which is I think how he pronounced it in the show, is derived from the root which means to adhere or to cling. And the term is used to describe a malicious spirit. So are they sending us verbal cues that you might be right on the whole Fight Club thing? That she does have like some sort of like evil spirit or evil like part of herself that's split off
Right.
due to trauma or whatever. And then
Right.
that's why, okay, so, but no, man, because we still have to deal with the black eyes. What do the black eyes mean?
I think it
I
has
mean,
to do
is
with
that possession?
the
The black,
specific type of Night Sister magic or whatever coven witch magic that they use that has some sort of mind control
but then
aspect.
that may be the whole theme of the whole series might have something to do with being possessed.
Yeah.
Whether it be by evil force spirits or a different part of a personality or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah. Things to contemplate. No, I don't know that I have a lot of answers. I do know that, I know some things that are going to happen in the next episode, but I don't think we're going to get answers to all of this. The only thing we
What are
may
our
be
major what are our major questions then, I guess?
major question is who's the dude in the black mask or in the black mask, like the helmet.
And
Who's
how do
the
they
figure
relate to the
in the
overall
helmet?
story?
Yeah, and what was the crime? We don't know. Um, because the show is about the retribution for those crimes, right? And May is on this path to become an acolyte, because it says the acolyte kills. Seems that she's on the path to become an acolyte. She has to accomplish this task of killing a Jedi without using a weapon. So, will she accomplish her goal of becoming an acolyte? Will we find out? Well, I'm certain we will find out who's wearing that mask at some point. And what's the twist there?
No, she can't be. Okay, all right, hold on. She can't be. They can't be the same person because they definitely like are witnessed in the same place by this dude, right? When she
Does he
gets in,
see them together, or does he come once the other one left?
bro, though, I'm telling you, look into that Kurosawa movie Roshidan because you might be right. Like once we see things from a different point of view, we might realize that there was things that we saw that the other characters didn't see, you know? Because he definitely rolls up on her. Hold on, because she pulls her gun on her, right? Or whatever that
Right,
thing
right,
is. And
right.
she's right there because even they have like people have made fun of, oh, we're twins. We have the same haircut, which is really funny. Like in a galaxy far, far away, you not only like have the same accent as your ancestors, but you even have the same haircut as your twin. Like she takes off, okay, and then okay, where she shoots twice.
Now everything's clear. There's nothing there, right?
He's not there. Bam, he's right there. He's right
Right,
behind her.
right,
Yeah, he saw her blast. There's no way he didn't see her blast.
right. So I don't think that's going to be the twist. I'm just telling you that was one thing
No,
that
no, no. We're
I've
trying
been
wild
arguing.
speculation and we're being critical about this. We're Sherlock Holmes in this stuff, man.
Perfect,
That's
perfect.
why this is here.
That's what I've been doing too. I the Night Sister, the mother theory. So there's I think three major theories. One is that it's the Night Sister mother. One is it's Khmer. One is that it's a Jedi. Those are the three major ones. Fourth is that it's somebody we don't know. Right. So those are
There's
the
somebody we don't know. One of the players we haven't been introduced to.
right. So if we were to take each of those and break it down, the Khmer is still not been proven false. One of the Jedi, we know who it's not, but we don't necessarily know that it's not a Jedi. We've explored that a bit. Third is the Night Mother. It's a Night Mother. One of the problems with it being a Night Mother is that, or a witch coven mother, is that Leslie Headland's given lots of interviews saying this is about Sith. We've got a Sith Lord, an apprentice, and an acolyte. Would the coven mother be Sith? I don't know. Is that a different religion? Is that like doing a conversion to Catholicism? Like, what's the deal? Um, how would she become going from a witch coven force user to being a Sith Lord? I, I don't know. Um, yeah, it's tough to know. And then there's this whole is
We don't have
OSHA,
enough info. I don't think that there's
yeah,
enough data.
which is great. So it leaves us in this open-ended part where we can say, these are great things to
It's
ponder.
Yord. It's Yord.
I I love it being Yord. I wanted it to be Yord in a bad way.
I think
Uh,
if it's Yord, I would be okay with it. I wouldn't be disappointed because everybody else said, Crimeria.
come here.
Come here. God damn it. Anyway, but all right. Okay. Wait. Let me think here. Because I don't know if that's cool though. If they introduce anybody else who's like a suspect, it would almost kind of like make these first two pointless in a way. I mean, I hope that I don't know. I'm cool with it right now. Like after watching it, there was a bunch of stuff that I was like probably just a little bit disgruntled about, just aesthetic wise. Like you said, like I watched it with my mom, and my mom kept standing up and going like Radio Shack, Disney, Mickey Mouse. This looks Mickey Mouse. This looks like Star Trek. She said Star Trek one time.
Oh no. Oh no.
She said it looked like Radio Shack or VTech, like the little kid, like Pip. She said
Mhm.
Pip looked like the little VTech. But I mean, after watching it again, like I said, even with the cat like slave people, I'm okay with it. It doesn't
Yeah. I'm
it
okay too.
doesn't look Star Trek-y to me. It doesn't.
For
Even
me,
Ahsoka looked worse. There's parts of Ahsoka when there's that captain on the bridge. You know which part I'm talking about.
yeah,
Within the
yeah.
first episode, first few minutes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this looks like bad Star Trek. But I didn't like. I get the things that annoyed it to me are the same things that kind of annoy me about the prequels. But I'm okay with that because
Well,
over time, like I have appreciated the prequels and I have appreciated the goofy shallowness and the depth of the prequels.
well,
And I'm
I'll say
hoping that Acolyte has depth.
all of this all this controversy about, is this show good? Is this show bad? We know subjectivity is varies from person to person to person. What's good, what's bad between you and me may differ. But what I really like, and what's a proof to me that this show is working, at least at some level, is that we have a list of questions that we don't have answers to, and we're anxious to watch, to find, right? We want to see the next episode. We want to see how this unfolds. Who's this? Who is that? What is this? What is that? That we have these questions that are unanswered. I hope that they don't turn out to be nothing burgers like J.J. Abrams mystery boxes, right? I
Well, I
hope
mean,
that
I don't think that they're doing that anymore. I think that
I
they
hope not.
took, but because let's be honest, George Lucas was a little bit from the hip on how he developed his story also.
Yes.
And there's different
Yes.
motivations to why he did it. And I think that those motivations kind of differed from Abrams. I think Abrams was kind of trying to play homage, but I think that derailed everybody who was trying to have some sort of like continuity and some sort of purpose. But I think this is why the whole crux to the Omega theory of mine is important, is because I think that that is evidence that they are planning way ahead. And I think that they are planning years ahead. But I just
Yeah,
don't,
I think so. And Leslie Headland is a big sweaty nerd when it comes to Star Wars. She knows her stuff.
don't say Leslie Headland and sweaty in the, don't just, I mean, I get what you mean, but visually,
You didn't need that.
I mean, sweat makes green face makeup run. You know what I mean?
I got you. Ben asked a really good question. What if they stretch out the ages of Tenebris? So we did a lot of fan math on Tenebris and how old he would be. If they change the time and they work with it just a little bit, Tenebris. Oh, also you could change his race instead of being a Bith, like the band in the Cantina band from A New Hope. Instead of being one of the modal nodes, right? You make him a different species. Darth Tenebris would be excellent. Darth Tenebris would be excellent. But right now,
It
we know
matches up
Darth
on the
Tenebris.
timeline, right? Is that like the
Yeah,
main problem of is this retconning Tenebris?
right. Well, yeah, right. Would she change the race, the species of Tenebris to be something else? Or would you make a teenage Sith Lord? That's where I really
That
have
feels like
have
where
an
they're
issue.
going. I mean, I don't know how old Vord is, but like all of our most of our suspects, I think most of our primary suspects are all teenagers.
Well, I think Kamir is not a teenager, right? He's older. But we'll see. We'll see. And again, this is what I like. I think that all the criticism this show has gotten from different people and things that work or don't work for them,
I
all the
think it
praise that
doesn't
it's gotten,
matter.
all of that, we can all come together and say, hey, what's this? What's this? What's this? Maybe some people don't care. And if you don't care, this show's not for you. That's fine. But for those of us who are like trying to break it down and trying to find clues and trying to look into maybe some meta uh, messages that could be in here, what is the thing leading this? What is this based on? Let's see.
Everything's important here at Meta Egg, man. Anything doesn't matter how old it is, doesn't matter if it's whatever the media. But I mean, because what you get is what you get. It's kind of like how
Right.
they tell little kids, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Because I don't give a shit about the politics. I don't give a fuck about who makes the Star Wars. I don't, you know what? We just live in a period of time where I feel like fan art on YouTube not only fan art, but art dissing the actual IP is getting more views than the actual art itself.
Yeah.
I think that that's the main issue, is because we are consuming more of the negative connotations about a piece of art more than the art itself. That can't be healthy. That can't. That's like eating the shit of a pastry. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we doing this? Like, we can't control what the art is.
Well,
So go over and get what you can out of this. Now the main thing that I have an issue with is how Disney has turned my family that I used to share Star Wars with away from the franchise, and I have no control over that. That's Disney's issue. But I watch a whole bunch of stuff that my family doesn't watch.
well, you bring up a really good point, Will, because we as families, we all have family members that we're close with, some that we're not. There's family feuds that happen from time to time. There's division. There's all kinds of things that happen in family dynamics. But it seems that in the past decade, there there has been seeds of derision planted over and over and over by the people who control the franchise that keep driving wedges between the fandom. And we mentioned it earlier, you've got this tinderbox of kindling that's dry and ready to catch fire, and rather than try to douse it with, you know, some cool, refreshing water, they instead heat it up, make it worse, right? So that's, and I think Ben and I were talking about it the other day. The Lucasfilm, Disney Lucasfilm marketing PR department has been failing the fandom.
I
That
don't know if
part
they're
is,
manipulating. I mean, we could go conspiracy with this and just say that they're working to destroy the culture. Or I mean, are they stuck? Do they think what they're doing is right? Do
yeah,
they feel pressure by their peers to do what they're doing? Are they intentionally going against the better judgment of the future of the company? And I
yeah,
mean, it seems like it could be any one of those. I mean, when you have evidence against all of that,
it
like,
does.
why are they pushing against the very fan base that supports them?
Yeah, I told Matt Risman the other day, one way to stop a fight is just to burn it all down. Burn it to the ground. Leave nothing
That's
standing.
very The Last Jedi of you to say.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's one way to do it. That's not necessarily what I would recommend, but it does seem sometimes that that's their strategy. Is like, we've got this big fire, just keep pouring more lighter fluid on it, as Dale said. Right? Just keep pouring more until it burns out. When it burns out, then we'll start with fresh ground and grow this thing.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of accept it as what it is. There's things, there's things in the original trilogy. I don't think anybody I don't think any Star Wars fan has more than 3 favorites as far as the movies go. You get what
Well,
I mean? Like, and
I'll bring this up. If you get outside of social media, get off the internet, and you go meet fans in the real world, and you talk to them at conventions, or you talk to them at a Renaissance festival, or you talk to them at the comic book store, you talk to
wherever
them at,
those fans might be lurking, all the
yeah, well,
normal.
I mean, you can find them, they dress up for different things, and you run into them, and, if you talk to a Star Wars fan, you may disagree on things, but one thing that they have in common is they still just love Star Wars. Love it. And if you were to take your temperature off of what you see on the internet, you'd think it was different. And you step away from the internet and you go to some of these places, you just see hordes of fans who are just in love with this content. You find tons of people dressed up as Ray or Kylo. You find people dressed up as, you know,
The things
new
you don't
Disney era.
like.
Yeah. So don't gauge
People like the
all of
things you
your,
don't like. That's the cool thing, I think, but all of these things have changed. Like, even Book of Boba Fett, I've gone back, I've told you this, I've turned off the sound and watched it without sound, and I'm like, "Well, visually, this is kind of pleasing." Like, and I definitely feel that way about Rise of Skywalker too. Like, when I first saw Rise of Skywalker, I was like, "Holy crap." I mean, there's that was such fanfare that that's probably one of the most rewatchable the Star Wars that I've ever seen. It was the most Star Warsy movie that I ever seen. When I watched it the second time, my attitude on it flipped. I was like, all of this stuff is annoying. This doesn't go anywhere. I went back and watched it recently, and I had that feeling I had the first time I watched it, where I was like, kind of, I might not agree with the whole scene with Han
right?
Solo and Kylo, but I kind of teared up at it. Do you
Right.
get what I'm saying? Like,
I
my
do.
attitude, like, I have changed how I view the thing. And that's not being shilly or anything. That's just being like, the only thing that I have a problem with is if they intentionally do the things that they know that I don't want to see. And it's kind of like in your face and hand wagging, because it feels like individuals who are in charge of certain IP resent the IP that they have. Oh, they have this attitude. It feels like sometimes where it's like, well, Lucas did this, but Lucas, that was back then when we were racist and sexist, and I can do something better with my own ideas. But they're not taking into account the fact that, Lucas took in this idea of mythology and other people's work to sort of like show that he stands on the shoulders of giants. There's individuals who have tried to make story. There's mythologies that have run the span of like thousands of years, and these things can be studied and extracted upon and used to your own work, instead of thinking that it all has to do with you, like some magic bullet that you possess that no one else possesses.
There's a great quote from George Lucas when he's talking about original trilogy fans' backlash towards the prequel trilogy. He said they grew up and they forgot that the show was made for children, 10 to 12-year-olds, right? It was made for kids. And they wanted Star Wars to grow up with them. And he continually pushed to keep Star Wars relevant to the next generation. I've talked with Star Wars Meg about one of my big gripes about the the Attack of the Clones and C-3PO's head being transported to a B-1 battle droid, and that the personality gets mixed with the head. And like, it makes no sense to me. I think it's stupid. It's really dumb. But she said that was a trope that was going on at the time, and she loved it. Like for her, so she's way younger. She's in her mid-20s. So, one thing Lucas was kind of aware of
Hey,
is that
hold on though. The droid's personality comes from the ships, not the. Because once you take out the ships, the droids go down, right?
But how does he become like he's C-3PO, but he's like die rebel scum or whatever,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, whoa, what did I say that? Where does your it's just dumb, right? It's so stupid. And I hate it. I hate it so much. And so he's having this like identity crisis because his head's on a different body. It's just
That's great.
dumb.
That's
I
great.
hate it. I hate it with a passion. But yeah, die Jedi. Oh, what did I just say? Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
No, I applaud you. That's meta as hell. That's great. I love it.
But Lucas kept it. He stayed focused. He didn't let Star Wars age with its fans. That's what he said. Like the fans wanted Star Wars to age with them, but he was constantly focusing on how to keep it um, personal to the next generation. And as Star Wars moves forward, it needs to do that. And there's tropes that are common in
you know what? You make a great point, because I have one of these. Rob often says that he has a problem with the but at that time period, that was like a huge trope. Like every kid knew what that meant. Kids nowadays have no idea who Tarzan is.
Right.
But every cartoon was making fun of it. Like everybody was already making fun of it. So it kind of like it dates it.
Right. Right. And so Star Wars not aging with us. I saw a comment on social media about this stuff, like the Acolyte really missed its opportunity. It could have been the first R-rated Star Wars project we ever had. It could have been the most mature. I was like, wait a minute. You completely missed it, right? You are doing exactly what George said, right? You're doing exactly like he wanted Star Wars to grow up with them, be more mature. Like I grew up, I want you to grow up with me. I want you to be at my current level. Go back to thinking, what would a 12-year-old enjoy? Would a 12-year-old like this? Would a 10-year-old like this? And is it giving us some of the tropes, some of the things that modern shows have? And from that perspective, I think most of these shows are doing that. We just don't like it. I don't.
I mean, I think I have something wrong with me. I watch stuff that I don't like all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that in the end, my final judgment, especially after looking at it today with you, and just going back and rewatching these, like they're changing quicker for me. Like I even had a problem with like Clone Wars. I remember that I was interested in Clone Wars until they brought like Death Maul back. And then that annoyed me. I I was like, I'm not paying. For years, I did not pay attention to that cartoon because of that. And when I went back and I finally finished the Clone Wars, that was like the best decision they could have made.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
I don't
George acknowledged it. George realized it. He's like, "Oh, this character of Maul, I killed him too fast. Let's bring him back."
bring back his brother, though. Like, his brother is one of my favorite characters, and his
Well,
brother lasts not as long. His brother's death is more heartbreaking than Maul's original death.
well, and I laugh about this all the time, and I hate it. Meeber Gascon from the Clone Wars animated series reminds me so much of Plankton from SpongeBob SquarePants. And I'm like, I don't need Plankton in my Star Wars, right? And
That's
I hate it so much.
that
I
means
do, right?
that's funny.
But you know that Droid Walkabout series is George has said is his favorite of the entire Clone Wars animated series. And a lot of that goes back to its references back to his initial college movie that he did. But anyway, we've already gone an hour, so I'll just
Yeah, let's pop off and go pay attention to other things. I just think it's funny. And in conclusion, I like to say, back in the day, you know what? Everybody told me that Star Wars is gay, and I ignored them. Now everybody's telling me that Star Wars is gay again. I'm gonna continue to ignore them. Like, so far, so good. So far, so good. I don't even mind that it kind of looks like television. It does look like television, but it still has the attitude or the tone of the prequels. Like, yeah, it's corny, but you're still going to be making memes about it for the next decade.
yeah,
I
I love
hope
it.
that happens.
I love it. And like I said before, we've got a lot of unanswered questions that we can speculate on and get
That's fine.
together and make our own theories and kind of poke holes in each other's theories. And that is fantastic. As friends and as fans who enjoy the same content, we can speculate over this and we can come up with things and just have fun. Have fun with it. And that makes this show successful, at least from one aspect.
Santa, thank you for joining us.
Sure.
If it's the first time you guys have ever watched, hit the bell and go in. We have like a ton of different shows. We have like live action. We have like longer format stuff. There's shorts. Like, just dig in, enjoy yourselves. And all those who have like showed up, I mean, Skywalker Academy. What is this? What is his name?
Has
Real
been.
Ben Maynard.
Yes.
All right. I like this
Good dude.
guy. Thank you guys for yeah, you too, bro. Have a good day. And thanks everybody again. We'll see you again real soon. Take it easy. Keep on